Hi guys, what's up? It's Emmy here from the Cookie Nook, and we are ready to decorate our cookies from the Lorax book. So I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Maybe you're going to be watching the movie tonight. And I know there are so many of you who have been grabbing a cookie kit every week and following along. And I love, love, love seeing your cookies when they're finished, and I see the progress every week. It looks like you guys are getting more comfortable doing it and they're looking awesome. So this week I wanted to introduce something different, painting on a cookie. So we're going to be doing some icing like we've been doing and some painting. I've been super into painting lately, just learning how to paint on a canvas, and I love painting on cookies. It's just a different way to get some really vibrant colors and super fun. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start as usual. We're gonna start with mixing our icing bags back together because they're gonna have separated. So some parts are gonna be watery. So just make sure you're massaging those back together. Okay, I already cut the tips in mine, so I have to pinch the top of the bag so it doesn't come out. All right, so massage those back together. And make sure everything is mixed back in. And then you're gonna cut tiny tips in your bags once you've massaged them. If at any point you need to pause so you can follow the directions, and then when you're done, jump back in with the video, go ahead. So you've massaged them back together, and you're gonna cut small tips in your bags. So that's the tip on my orangey yellow for that Lorax mustache. And then my tip on the black is gonna be even smaller because it's just for the details of the trees, okay? So you wanna make sure they're small so that we're not getting messy. And you wanna test it out. So just like on a paper towel or a plate, just squirt a little bit out to make sure you don't have a big clump of water that's gonna come out first. Okay, so just test a little squirt out. Okay, so once you've done that, your icings are ready. Then we're going to get our paint palettes ready. So in your paint palettes, this is just food coloring that I've put in there, and then it's dried. So we need to rehydrate this, okay? You've got 4 colors on the outside and 2 empty wells on the inside. The less water you add to these, the more vibrant the color is gonna be. If I know a couple adults bought kits this week, if you are an adult, you can choose to add either water, or you can make this into like an extract using a food grade alcohol. So just adding like probably a half teaspoon here, but it doesn't matter. We're just gonna rehydrate those colors. I think I'm gonna add a little more to my purple because I don't want it to be a deep purple. And then my empty wells in the middle, I'm gonna fill those with water because that's where I'm gonna clean my brush. All right, now be sure not to knock this over now that it's filled with water. Okay, now I'm gonna move my water out of the way. All right, so we have all of our supplies ready. We are going to start with, let's outline our mustache. Okay, can everybody see the mustache good? Let me move the finished one out of the way. Okay, so you've got your orangey yellow here, and you're gonna start with just outlining it. A nice hairy mustache for the Lorax. My kids love, now we're gonna flood it. My kids love to take this mustache and hold it up to their face and then take pictures. So if you wanna do that and then have someone send it to me, I'd love to see your finished mustaches and look like the Lorax. All right, so then we're going to shake this one out. And you can get pretty aggressive with your shaking here. All right, and I missed a spot up here, so I'm gonna go back and add it and then shake that out, shake it. Shake it out, shake it out. All right, so now we're gonna let that mustache set. We want it to crust a little bit before we go adding the lines. Okay, so we're moving the mustache to the side. And now we're gonna bring these in for some painting. So you see, I've already flooded these white for you because to paint them, they need enough time to dry so that you can then paint over the icing. So we're gonna start, just gonna wet my brush a little bit first. I'm gonna start with the green for the grass. Really mix that in. And then I would test it on a paper towel first to see if it's the green you want. So that's the green I like, okay? If it's too dark, add a little more water. Now the best part about this, it's just watercolor painting. So really, it's gonna look awesome no matter what you do. I'm gonna go a little below this notch here for the grass. And I'm just gonna paint my grass on. Make sure you get the sides there. Now, one thing that you want to be careful of is you do not want a really wet brush. And you don't want to let a puddle of water sit anywhere on your cookie. Because if that happens, then, see I kind of tap it on the side there, your icing's just gonna get mushy. Okay, and it's gonna like fall through. So we're just gonna paint. Get all my green on. These trees are so fun to do. You really can't go wrong with it because the truffula trees can look however you want them to look, right? They're colorful and funky. So we're done with the green. We're gonna rinse that brush and I'm gonna dry it on my paper towel a little bit. And now before we do the blue sky, we're gonna do just some blobs up here for our tree colors, okay? So I'm gonna start with the pink one, mix my color together, and then check my color on a paper towel. Yep, it's the color I like. So really, I'm just going up here, a little below this notch, and painting. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. Make sure your brush isn't too wet. Okay? Just painting like it can be a little misshapen. Okay, then rinse your brush. And we're gonna do the same on the other cookie. I'm gonna go with purple. Checking my color. And then painting my blob. So I'm gonna get a little more color on my brush here. I think I took a little too much off. All right, and there's my blob there for the next tree. Then rinse. And we're ready for the sky. Now, if you were using food grade alcohol to make this into like an extract, your alcohol is going to make this dry quicker. The alcohol evaporates, the flavor evaporates, and your coloring stays, but dries much quicker and not so tacky. But water works just fine too, especially if you're just gonna eat them right after and not bag them up, right? So now we're just painting the sky. All right, it doesn't have to be, it can be darker on one side. You can have streaks of brighter blue. You just want to make sure it doesn't puddle. So if you get a little puddle anywhere, you can dry off your brush and then go back and spread that puddle out. All right. And now we're going to do the sky on the other one. I love how bright this blue comes out. There we go. There we go. Okay, so that's the start of our trees. I'm gonna rinse my brush. And then I'm done with my brush actually. I'm gonna move this to the side to make sure that I don't spill it while I'm finishing up my cookies. So I'm gonna push these to the side so they can have a minute to dry. And I'm bringing the stash back, okay? So now we're just going to add, I might go back, I didn't do this on my example cookie, but I'm gonna go back and just outline my mustache. And then I'm gonna add some mustache lines. So it's just gonna start in the middle, curve out. So I just want you to see, when I'm holding my icing bag, I like to push the color down as I use it and then twist it so I get a nice amount of pressure on the bag. And then I hold it with the icing, the top of the bag coming out between my thumb and pointer finger, okay? That's gonna give you a good grip on the bag and better control. There we go. I might add one more down here. And now your Lorax mustache is done. Okay? And then we're gonna bring these back in. All right, so they're not too wet. If you used a little more water on yours, then you can give it a couple more minutes to dry. But we're gonna start with our black. So we're just gonna outline these blobs that we made, okay? So you just go, you can go zigzags. Here we go, just like this. Make it look funky. Okay, just like the truffle trees in the book and the movie. Did you guys watch the movie before? I love that movie. And it's such a good lesson about how we should treat our earth, right? All right, so our next step is going to be adding the stem. Okay, so I'm gonna just add 2 lines here and then kind of make it curve. It's not a straight line. I kind of brought it down to the left a little bit. See? Okay. And then I'm taking the yellow, the orangey yellow really, and I'm filling it in. It doesn't need to be smooth. Just, right? Filling that in. And then I'm gonna go back. You can let this yellow kind of set for a minute if you want right now, and then come back to this step. I'm just gonna add some zigzags along the bark here. There you go. And then your trees are done. Okay? All right, I'd love to see some pictures. Go ahead if whatever adult you're doing this with, if they want to take some pictures and then tag me in them, I love to see them. I'm sure you guys did awesome. Remember, if they don't look exactly like mine, that is okay. I love to see the different ways you guys get creative. Some of you follow the steps on the video. Some of you say, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing, and that's awesome, whichever way you like to do it, okay? All right, thanks, guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.